We have a new topic, internalizing problem behavior of gender collective youth and well-being, and it's also a general topic in current scenario. तो जिस पे फोकस करने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है लोगों को। यूनिट नंबर 2 विद्युत सिंह की पीपीटी है एंड स्टार्ट। तो इसमें हम कवर करेंगे लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, इंट्रोडक्शन टू प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर पे डायरेक्ट आते हैं। हमने पहले ही एक पीडी डाली हुई है, तो इंट्रोडक्शन टू प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर। हम इस क्वेश्चन को स्टार्ट करते हैं। इंटरनलाइजिंग प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर। इंट्रोडक्शन टू प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर। तो व्हाट इज बिहेवियर, व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर, व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर। तो हमने थोड़ा इसको मेन टॉपिक छाटने के लिए हमने सर्च आउट किया है। तो व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर, एक्सप्लेन द प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर थ्योरी इन डिटेल। प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर रेफर्स टू एक्शंस। Problem behavior refers to actions or behaviors that are socially unacceptable. Problem behavior refers to actions or behaviors that are socially unacceptable, disruptive, harmful। socially unacceptable हैं, disruptive हैं, harmful हैं, and against societal norms, according to Richard जैक्सर एंड शेले जैक्सर। ये इनकी थ्योरी होगी अकॉर्डिंग टू रिचर्ड जैक्सर एंड शेले जैक्सर। 1977 में उन्होंने प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर इज कहा था, बिहेवियर दैट आर सोशली डिफाइंड एज प्रॉब्लम। वह बिहेवियर जिसको सोशली डिफाइन करें हम एक प्रॉब्लम की दिक्कत है, सोर्स ऑफ कंसर्न है, ध्यान देने का विषय है, और अनडिजायरेबल है। अनडिजायरेबल है मतलब कि अनैतिक है, बिना सोचा हुआ बाय द नॉर्म्स ऑफ द conventional society. These behavior negatively affect an individual's relationship in education, emotional health, and social life. For examples include anxiety, depression, drug abuse, delinquency, aggressive behavior, social withdrawal. Anxiety is a kind of a deep down symptom of lots of problems and disruptive mental health. Depression is also kind of a dissociation from all the kind of interest, and the person goes to the mental state of depression. Drug abuse is also a kind of a habitual action that a person uses to retain himself or herself in the addiction of something that is very harmful for his health. Delinquency is also a kind of a harmful behavior, and it is also included in conduct disorder. Aggressive behavior, in which a person can affect himself or herself or others as well. Social withdrawn, a person is withdrawn by everything and only chooses isolation for their own. Problem behaviors usually arise because of stress. Problem behaviors usually arise because of stress. Anxiety is because of stress. Depression is without of trauma. A person experiences sometimes very bad circumstances or very impactful on the on his or her mind. That's called depression. In after a long period of time, a person now presently experience those things called depression. Poor coping skills, drug abuse। पर्सन पुअर कोपिंग स्किल्स होंगी जब वो ड्रग अब्यूज करेगा। फैमिली डेलिक्वेंसी में फैमिली कन्फ्लिक्ट भी होते हैं, लाइक जेनेटिक फैक्टर्स होते हैं, ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स यूजुअली अराइज होती हैं। प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर थ्योरी के बारे में हम बात करते हैं कि प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर थ्योरी क्या कंसिस्ट करती है। प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर थ्योरी वाज डेवलप्ड बाय रिचर्ड जैक्सन। अगर आपका क्वेश्चन, ये आई थिंक दीज क्वेश्चंस आर वेरी मच हाई पॉसिबिलिटी to come in exams, so you have to prepare these questions as important as possible. The problem behavior theory was developed by Richard Jackson and Shirley Jackson. Jackson की spelling you have to focus on it. JESSOR Jackson. This theory explains why some youth engage in risky or socially unacceptable behavior. This theory is all over basically derived to explain the thing why some youth engaged in risky or socially unacceptable behaviors. The theory focuses on three interrelated symptoms. Yeah, sorry, systems. Okay. In थ्री ये जो थ्योरियां रिलाई करती है ये मेनली फोकस इसका थ्री रिलायबल थ्री इंटर रिलेटेड systems पे. The first is personality system. So what do you mean by the personality? A person's personality is described by the values, beliefs, attitude, motivations, and self-esteem that a person could feel about himself or herself, or they contain their own self from these values. So you have to understand these explanation. Youth will a youth with positive self-esteem, academic goals, strong moral values is likely to engage in problem behavior. वो likely नहीं एंगेज होगा प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर्स में. बट इफ अ पर्सन हैज लो सेल्फ एस्टीम, हाई टॉलरेंस ऑफ deviance for deviance and negative self image, they are must receive to develop a problem behavior. Okay, for example भी हमारे पास स्टूडेंट who values education may avoid drug and violence, but a student who doesn't value education most chances to drive in drug and violence. Perceived, first is personality सिस्टम एंड थर्ड इज परसीव्ड एनवायरमेंटल सिस्टम. तो पर्सनैलिटी सिस्टम के बाद परसीव्ड एनवायरमेंटल सिस्टम आता है. तो perceived environmental system is a kind of a system that a person is usually brought up by their family, friends, and after that include teachers, society, and peer influence. Explanation की बात करें तो supportive parents and positive peer groups protect youth from problem behavior, and negative influences such as bad company, family conflict, lack of parental support increase the chances of problem behavior getting to. For example, let's take an example. A teenager with aggressive friends may start breaking rules that may be future he he, he perceived problem behavior in her own. And then B मतलब behavior symptom, sorry, behavior system. This system focuses on actual behavior. टाइप्स होते हैं इसके behavior system के टाइप्स हैं conventional behavior, problem behaviors. And तो टू टाइप्स हैं इसके. बिहेवियरल सिस्टम में टाइप्स हैं, टू टाइप्स हैं, कन्वेंशनल बिहेवियर और प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर. कन्वेंशनल बिहेवियर से आप समझ ही रहे होंगे, कन्वेंशनल जो सोसाइटल बिहेवियर है, स्टडिंग, स्पोर्ट्स, रिलीजियस एक्टिविटी एंड कल्चरल वर्क, या वी हैव टू से दैट सोशल वर्क. प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर होते हैं स्मोकिंग, ड्रग अब्यूज, वायलेंस, स्कूल absenteeism is also a problem that creates for a teenager. For let's take an explanation. Participation in positive activities reduces risky behavior. जो participation है positive activities में वो reduce करेगा risky behavior. Conclusion: problem behavior theory explains the youth behavior develops through the interaction of personality factors, environmental influences, behavioral patterns. Positive family support, healthy friendship, and emotional guidance can reduce problem behavior. So let's take a look from the SLM. इंट्रोडक्शन टू प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर हमने देखा अभी. और ये प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर थ्योरी जो है ये रिचर्ड जैक्सन, शैली जैक्सन ने दी है. एंड देन टाइप्स ऑफ बिहेवियर. बिहेवियरल इनकॉर्पोरेट प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियरल के दो टाइप्स थे, हमने वो भी कवर अप किए हैं. एंड देन मूव ऑन टू द अनदर टाइप्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर. सो टाइप्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर की और चलते हैं. Define internalizing problem behavior. Types of problem behavior तो we have to cover in this conventional behavior. मतलब वो behavior system के अंदर आते हैं. तो types of problem behavior, let's take a look. भी हम आगे करते हैं. Intern Define internalizing problem behavior, explain its symptoms, causes, and related factors. Internalizing problem behavior refers to emotional and psychological problems that are directly inward and towards oneself. These behaviors mainly affect a person's emotional thoughts, mental health. Youth with internalizing behaviors are often called over-controlled youth. Example of internalizing behavior are depression, anxiety. डिप्रेशन हो गया, एंजाइटी हो गई, सोशल विड्रॉवल हो गया, ईटिंग डिसऑर्डर्स हो गई, सेल्फ हार्म हो गया, स्लीप प्रॉब्लम्स हो गई एंड सोमैटिक कंप्लेंट्स हो गई. सिस्टम्स Symptoms of internalizing problem behavior include common symptoms such as emotional symptoms हो गए हैं. Emotional symptoms हमारा जो है की बोलते हैं उसमें इंक्लूड करते हैं हम sadness, fear, excessive worry, guilt और worthlessness. Behavioral system में हम include symptom में हम include करेंगे socially withdrawal, isolation, isolation, avoidance behavior, lack of confidence. Physical symptoms में हम include करेंगे headache, stomach aches, fatigue, drowsiness भी हो सकता है and sleep disturbances. Causes of internalizing problem behavior, genetic factor, depression and anxiety can run in families. Children of depressed and anxious parents are maybe likely to develop similar problems. Environmental factors, negative environmental increased risk, family conflicts, poverty, abuse, stressful life events, and parental restriction. Psychological factors include negative thinking, poor emotional regulations, low self-esteem, shyness, behavioral inhibition. Factors include uh, related internal biological factors, social factors, and psychological factors. Explain depression and as internalizing problem behavior. Depression is a mood disorder. डिप्रेशन जो होता है वो एक मूड होता है, तो वो एक मूड डिसऑर्डर में आता है एंड इट इज वेरी 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 we can say that harmful for a human being to be depressed in deep down situations. Persistent sadness होती है, loss of interest होता है, feeling of hopelessness होती है. It's affect emotion, thinking, behavior, and physical health. Also symptoms of depression according to American Psychiatric Association. Symptoms include persistent sadness and irritability, low or loss of interest in activities, weight loss or gains. Weight loss, some person have weight loss and organ, sleep disturbances, fatigue, a feeling of guilt or worklessness, poor concentration, suicidal thoughts. Okay, for diagnosis, symptoms must last at 2 weeks. At last, 5 symptoms should be present. Causes of depression, family conflict, peer rejection, academic strength, genital vulnerability, negative thinking patterns. Those explain depression more frequently because they experience the highest stress, they overcome emotional problems. Effects of depression. Depression affects school performance, pressure, motivation, self-esteem. Okay. Treatment of depression. CBT is our treatment of it. Let's take another time in the full video of an explanation of it. Okay, thanks for watching.